guys, welcome to a special episode of the 7-1. I gotta stop saying that. It's not a special episode. It's our regular episode of the 716 Sports Entertainment Podcast. It's episode 16 of the formal podcast where we do our Raw and our SmackDown reviews. And today we're going to look at last night's SmackDown on May the 9th, which was our go-home episode for Backlash. And it was good. We had a bunch of matches, and some of them were really, really good. There was actually, 6 matches in total, which is good for a SmackDown. I mean, the last couple of weeks, we've only had, 3 or 4 matches. So it's good to see, like, wrestling on our wrestling shows. So we're going to break it all down for you to, talk to the follow through and the kind of the go home episode for SmackDown good or bad, or, was it just kind of forgettable? So as always, I'm Mike with 716 Sports Entertainment, joined by Mr. Sean O'Neill. And as always, guys, thank you so much for all the subs. As always, hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to do a giveaway when we get to 100 subs. And with that, let's kick it off, Sean. So we got, right away, we opened the show with LA Knight and Damian Priest in the back talking, doing a quick interview segment. And it was very clear that they were going to kind of present the two of them as if they were not on the same page. And it was kind of the going theme of the match that kicked off the show, which was LA Knight and Damian Priest in a tag team match versus Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. So you want to go ahead and give your thoughts on the match and take us through the finish?
So for the fact that it's a fatal four-way for that title, these guys really shouldn't be on the same page. Like, I get it, they got put into a team together, but they're still fighting against each other. Like, you can't expect, or they shouldn't be expected to be all like best friends just because they're teaming together. It's one of the things I miss that WWE used to do a lot was like when you had two people going for a title, they would put them together in a tag team just to get matches out. Like, I remember Cena versus Shawn Michaels, and they got put on a tag team together, and I think they actually won the tag belts temporarily. Those kind of matches were fun. Or like the beginning, like when Daniel Bryan and Kane, like the antagonism between these guys, it adds more to the story. But so the story of this particular tag match obviously is, could they coexist against the Bloodline? And I would honestly, I'm kind of surprised that they gave the win to LA Knight. I really thought that either Solo or Fatu was going to win. Personally, I thought Solo was going to get the pin and then try to get himself added to the match. But that out of nowhere BFT and then the out of nowhere Drew McIntyre taking everybody out after the match, 100% down with that. And I would love to see McIntyre win the belt. But if you go back and check out our predictions video from yesterday, none of us picked him.
Description. Yeah, I have a bit of a different opinion on this. I think LA Knight got the win because I wish I could change my pick, but I think LA Knight's going to be the one taking the pin tonight. I think I think that's why they gave it to him. WWE has a habit of doing that, and I think they teamed them up because they're both the baby faces, right? Like Drew McIntyre is very clearly the heel. Even though Jacob Fatu was getting like a crazy pop, like the crowd was really into the crowd was more into Jacob than they were just about anybody else. Like they were kind of booing Damian Priest at times. But hell of a match. I really think Knight's BFT is an awesome finisher. I really, really like it. And it was good to see Jacob kind of like lay everybody out after it was all over. And like, I loved, after this match was over, they had that segment backstage where Drew was, the interviewer caught up with Drew and he was like, why did you do that? And he did, he gave the all gas, no brakes thing. He kind of like shifted his eyes all goofy. And that was cool. And yeah, I mean, how much good stuff can you say about Drew McIntyre? Like, I mean, he has been so good since he came back. I mean, just the feuds that he has been in, every single feud that he has been in, he elevates it so much, regardless of who it's with. And I really hope that they like reward him at some point with with like an actual world title run.
I 100% agree with you. That promo alone was straight fire. And that goofy segment where he was all brakes, no gas. That's absolutely fantastic.
Too funny. So then we had the Secret Service backstage from an earlier. So I think it was like earlier in the night where they filmed something where they were in Nick Aldis's office and they were kind of mourning Chelsea's United States Championship loss, which led to Nick Aldis setting them up for a tag team match with Chelsea and Piper when Zelina came in and kind of like made fun of them. And it was a relatively nothing segment like initially, but it did lead to Zelina announcing that she was going to have a mystery partner. So, the Secret Harvest came out to the ring and Zelina came out with her awful music. She got no pop again. Thank you, Def Rebel. Like we can fire them, WWE. If you want to talk about people
Yeah.
who need to be released, like you can release them. They're terrible. But the biggest pop of the night was a returning Alexa Bliss, and it was awesome. She looked great. And I mean, the match was fine. It was like it was what it was until Alexa got the hot tag and kind of came in and just kind of ran roughshod on everybody and delivered an amazing. I love her sister Abigail. It's like she looks so good when she's doing it. Like the look she gets on her face and the way she can very easily flip them over when she does it. It's just outstanding. And yeah, what did you think of the match? And then subsequently, what did you think of her little segment with Charlotte after the fact too?
So I love the way that her sister Abigail isn't like a typical sister Abigail. It sort of gets turned into a DDT at the end of it. Big fan of that. And I mean, like you said, she looks great. I really hope that they actually do something with her now and that they brought her back because they finally have an idea on what they want to do. Um, Honestly, my hope is that she's the one that takes the title off of Zelina.
Yep.
And I think that that sort of ties into that weird little segment with Charlotte that you're going to see the two of them, as much as I hate Charlotte and hate to think about this, the two of them sort of work together to take the two titles for themselves.
It makes a lot of sense, right? Because like I like Selena and I'm happy for her, but she's clearly not over with the crowd, right? And Chelsea's fun, but she's also like she doesn't elevate that belt, I don't think.
No.
You put that belt on Alexa, or I hate to say it, you put that belt on Charlotte, that belt gets elevated a lot,
Yep.
and it seems to be like what they're trying to do with the IC belts and on Raw, right? Like having it go between Becky, Bailey, and in a turn, elevating Lyra is the way to elevate that belt, right? So if you're doing the same thing here, I think it's smart to mix Alexa and potentially Charlotte into that US title feud because it really, really helps to elevate that belt a lot, which that belt desperately needs to be elevated.
You made a good point. It feels exactly like what they're doing with the belt on Raw. And that is 100% the smart play. And I think it's fantastic that WWE is learning from its mistakes and utilizing what seems to be working for multiple things. As long
Yeah.
as they tell a little bit different of a story, because I don't want the exact same story amongst them, but I think that they have a perfect recipe for how to make those belts relevant.
Yeah, completely agree. So I kind of want to skip ahead a little bit because we had our first talking promo from Aleister Black. I like this. I like this a lot. It was excellent. And it obviously did lead to his match later on in the show. It's kind of closer to the end of the show. He had his match with Carmelo Hayes. So talk to me about what you thought about the segment, and then in turn what you thought about the match. The one thing I wanted to mention about the match that I specifically loved is when Miz tried to interfere and he just blasted him with the black mass like it was nothing, and then just
Yep.
kept going. That was fantastic. But yeah, give me your thoughts on Aleister Black, the promo more specifically, because we kind of knew he was going to beat Carmelo Hayes. But yeah, just how are you feeling about him so far with his debut and everything?
I do want to comment about the fact that I love that whenever Miz gets hit with a black mass, it looks like he's dead in the middle of the ring. Like
Right? Like the
he's
spit
laying,
comes out and
yep,
everything.
and then he's laying there like he's a dead body. But I like the fact that we finally actually got a promo from Aleister Black.
Mhm.
And I mean, he is the kind of character that his in-ring work more or less does a lot of the talking for him. But when you let him play, because he's good at promos. We saw it in NXT, we saw it in AEW, and I'm glad that they're going to allow him to do that. And I'm curious to see exactly what kind of character he's going to have here because it almost feels like he is going to be playing like a little bit of an anti-hero here, the way he was talking about good and evil there. Um,
Yeah.
I really want to know though what his first actual big feud is going to be. Like, who would you put him up against?
Um, I think he's going to shift into LA Knight and Damian Priest.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think those guys are going to need something to do after this US title thing is over with because Jacob's going to retain. I'm very confident Jacob is going to retain tonight. And I don't think LA Knight and Damian Priest, like they'll have a match. Like I think LA Knight and Damian Priest will have to have a match after the fact. Like they're going to have a short program. But I think it makes sense because those guys are definitely a bit higher up the card than Carmelo Hayes is right now, unfortunately. And Jacob's got to do his thing with Solo. And, if the rumors are to be true, Cody's coming back next week. And while I'm sure Cody will have words with Cena, I think Cody's first feud is going to be Drew McIntyre.
as
I've been seeing
if
a lot
we're
of reports of that. So, and I wouldn't want to put Aleister Black against Drew McIntyre just yet because I don't want McIntyre to lose.
yeah. Um, Problem is neither LA Knight nor Damian Priest are really heels.
No, they're faces. They're both faces, but Aleister Black is kind of in the middle. So I think it would be fine.
Think
Like I
you can
think
get a good feud out of both of them.
yeah, I think it would be totally fine. You've got certain people on your roster right now that you don't really want to beat, and like you got certain people on your roster that are kind of involved in other things. Like you don't want to really beat Ray Phoenix too much right now, right? But he's in the thing with Santos and Andrade and all of them because WWE is a little bit racist and they love to keep they love to keep all their Latinos together. Um but
Mexicals.
yeah, right. But I mean I could see yeah, I could see him absolutely going after one of those two guys after the fact because they're gonna need something to do. I mean, maybe he could go after, if you give it a little bit of time after you do the blow off thing with Solo and Jacob. I mean, I could very easily see him getting in the US title picture.
Yeah,
Like, you know, he could beat Solo Sikoa.
I
Absolutely.
would.
I mean, we need to one of these days we need to do like a sit down conversation about Solo Sikoa's fall from grace
Oh,
because
100%.
like it hasn't even been a year. It's been 6 months since last year's SummerSlam, maybe like 8 months since last year's SummerSlam. And Solo Sikoa was in the main event of that show for the United States title or for the championship. And now he's just taking pins regularly all the time,
Yeah.
like in like lower card feuds. Like he has really completely fallen off.
Um, yeah, I think honestly, there's several people on the roster that we should do that kind of thing for. Because there's several people whose current careers and story arcs have definitely fallen off. I don't think any of them have been to the degree of Solos. I think he has been the biggest fall from grace that we've had here. And
Mhm.
honestly, if he weren't a Samoan, I wouldn't be shocked if he would have been amongst those cuts there.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he's not going to get cut because of his relationship with all those guys.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think you're right. So getting back to the show, I kind of want to talk about this one for a minute too. So we had Charlotte come out, and we had mentioned obviously her conversation with Alexa, which we'll get in. We kind of touched on that briefly, but so Charlotte came out to the ring, and she didn't really have much to say. She kind of tried to put over Tiffany for a second, but man, I don't know what is going on with her, but like, I don't know if she's just like losing like her professionalism or she's really just like, she's really getting into her character right now, but it really just seems to me like she is really struggling with the way the crowd is reacting to her,
Yeah.
like
I
a lot.
if you
And I almost felt bad for her.
if you weren't going to mention it, I was to get your thoughts because that was just I don't know if that was something that the writers planned on happening with the way the crowds have been or not, but that crowd was vicious to her. And you're right. As much as I dislike her, I did kind of feel bad for her too. Like, and I don't know. It almost felt like she not only lost her train of thought at one point there, and like the way she went off on the crowd, but then the way when she left and acted as Jade came out, part of me thinks it's a work.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like maybe they'll set up a program between her and Jade at some point,
Yeah,
which might be okay after Jade finishes her stuff with Naomi, which we'll get into in a second here. But yeah, and I don't want to feel bad for Charlotte because like I personally don't like Charlotte. I
yep.
really like I don't like her character. She's not interesting to me. She's a great wrestler. I've said this for years, and I will die on this hill with Charlotte Flair. She is one of the best wrestlers on that roster. But as far as her character work, it's kind of crap.
Oh yeah, because she's a one note character. It's literally kind of like Bianca Belair. It's like I'm the best. Nobody's better than me. I'm just the best. And it's like that's not a character. Like you can have
Yeah,
a character that's egocentric. Like look at the $1 Million Man back in the day. That's how
right.
you do an egocentric character.
Yeah. Or even like you know what? Give the guy his flowers.
Yeah,
Miz has been the same character. I mean, sometimes he's been a face, but Miz has pretty much been the same character for 20 years, and it's worked for Miz. It's
yep,
absolutely worked for Miz. So, as you mentioned, though, Jade came out and Jade, hinted at a program between the two of them later on when she kind of called her down at the ramp. But this led into Jade's match with Nia Jax, which was for the number one contender for Tiffany's title. I mean, it was very obvious that Naomi was going to interfere here because her thing with Jade is not done yet, which was the other one that I wanted to mention yesterday when we were doing our predictions video because I was like, that's another one as well, right?
yeah,
Instead of the Gunther McAfee match, like why are we not having this match again? Because it very clearly seems like there needs to be another one of these, unless they're saving it for Bianca to come back, right? Like but obviously, Nia picked up the win because Naomi and Tiffany kind of came out and kind of got themselves involved a little bit. So Nia's going to be the number one contender. This match was fine. Obviously, all of the outside stuff was kind of the bigger story here. Um, but we called it when we did our predictions for WrestleMania and we did our review for WrestleMania. We were all like, "This thing with Jade and Naomi is not going to be over. Like
nope,
they're going to do a thing here." And I really feel like they made a mistake at WrestleMania. Naomi should have got the win because
yep,
it doesn't seem like it's relevant now that Naomi keeps coming out and keeps doing this. If Naomi desperately needs to beat Jade, then when they have their next match,
yeah. She can't lose again.
she has to. She has to win.
If you go back and you watch our WrestleMania prediction video, I believe both Terrence and I, Mr. T, said that predicted Naomi to win because storyline wise, it makes the most sense. So when Jade won, we all assumed that she was done with that feud because
Yep.
storyline wise, it doesn't make sense to continue it. She got and it wasn't just a win; it was a relatively definitive win.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand why they decided to stick with the Naomi story. I mean, I'm happy they did because it allows Naomi to stay relevant because I really like this character she's putting on,
I do
which
too.
is which is a lot for me.
I hope she wins the title.
And that's asking a lot for me because I absolutely despised the Glow character. And
I didn't either. Yeah.
it was it was another one of those characters that really wasn't anything. But like you just said, if Naomi doesn't win their next match, what's the point of this?
Yeah.
And um,
She's not credible if she doesn't win this match. Like
no,
I want her to win Tiffany's title.
yeah,
Like I think she would do a great job. This character refresh that she's done is the best thing she's ever done for her career in WWE since going back to when she won her first championship, which was like what, 10 years ago? Maybe
yes.
like longer, I don't even know, but yeah, she desperately needs to figure this out a little bit. But
Um, Before we go on though, I did have a point too about Nia. Does
yeah.
that do we really care about Nia and Tiffany again?
Nope.
Like, is this just to give Tiffany something to do and make
Yeah.
us forget about the Charlotte debacle?
It's just it's a filler thing until they get to their next thing. They'll have their match at Saturday night's main event at the end of the month, and then Tiffany, well, I don't know. I would assume both women's titles will not be defended on that show. The other one will be defended there, and then the other one will be defended at because it's very likely too that the Raw one as well will be probably a 2-on-2. Although they
Yeah.
were talking about doing that 2-on-2 on Raw next week, but it seems very likely that Roxanne or Julia or some combination of the both of them will, or maybe even a fatal four way, will get for that women's title on Raw at some point between those four women. Um, will probably happen at maybe at Money in the Bank because they could probably drag that story out for a little while. But this Nia and Tiffany thing is gonna end either at Money in the Bank or at Saturday night's main event, and then it's going to be done. And then
I
we'll
just
see when that gets the briefcase.
I just know that I have zero interest in it. And I mean, we've already seen it. And I feel like their Nia Jax experiment should be over. She the best she looked was when she won the Queen of the Ring tournament. And beyond that, there she doesn't I feel like she doesn't have what it takes to A, get over with the crowd, and B, get over with the other people in the ring with her.
Now that I'm thinking about it, actually, with given that these are the next two pay-per-views coming up, and I don't really count the Saturday night's main event, that's like a house show.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think Naomi's probably my favorite right now to win the briefcase.
My original was Chelsea Green, but I think I can agree with you on Naomi,
It makes so much sense for Naomi to win the briefcase.
especially as a heel. Because
Yeah.
the Money at the Bank briefcase, which I'm sure we'll talk about once we do our talk about that show, but the Money at the Bank briefcase is built for heels. Like it doesn't work on faces.
Not well. I mean, there's been a few that have done it, but yeah, for the most part, you're right. Um, so then this led to the Street Profits coming to the ring, and then we got an impromptu non-title match with Fraxiom, which holy God. If you watch one thing on this show, go back and
Watch
watch
it.
this match. This was incredible. Fraxiom has just continues to prove why they are one of the best tag teams on the planet. And I don't know. I mean, I'd probably rank them in the top three of active tag teams on WWE right now, and probably better than almost everybody on AEW right now, with maybe
Yeah.
an exception of like one or two tag teams. I'm just gonna say this so you guys can roast me if you want to roast me. I don't think that Nick and Matt Jackson are that great. You can roast me as much as you want. I don't like them. It has nothing to do with their in-ring work. It has everything to do with their off-camera stuff. So you can roast me, all you AEW stands. You can roast me all you want. I am not one of these guys that hates on AEW. I'm really not. You will often see me defending AEW on this channel. You have seen me defending AEW on this channel, but I just am not a Young Bucks guy. I'm just not. I don't like them. I don't like I don't like the way they don't sell for anybody ever. They never sell. They take big moves and they just get right up and keep going. I don't like it.
It, that's not just them though. That's a issue that AEW as a whole has, which we could talk about if we want to do a show about AEW. But I think
Yeah.
that's a company wide issue there. You see that happen way too often.
I mean that's been AEW has been my only exposure to them. And obviously they've been there for, the 5 years now. So like I knew nothing about them before AEW. I was not like hardcore into the independent scene and into the Japan scene. So like they were not I had no exposure to them like in the Bullet Club days and anything else like that. So I can only speak to what I've seen the last 5 years, and they've had a few good matches, but I just don't care for them. But getting back to Fraxium, I think Fraxium's incredible. I think
Oh yeah.
that they are incredible. And they won. They beat the Street Profits and they looked like $1 million. So hats off.
They I mean, we've talked about Fraxium and how happy we are that when they both got called up to the main roster together and WWE didn't decide to go the route of trying them as single stars again. I
Mhm.
think they are the future of the tag division. Because
Absolutely.
a lot of these other tag teams have all been around for a significant amount of time and are starting to get on the older side. So as you start to see newer teams get called up and signed, I think that you can make Fraxiom your peak
One,
of that division.
yeah, one of your pillars. So,
Exactly.
something you want to show off because yeah, they're awesome.
I mean, yes, both of them are smaller guys, but both of them can the moves. They're so incredibly fast and athletic in the ring. They everything they do looks so incredibly smooth, and they're pretty dang good with promos too.
Yeah, no, they held their own against the Street Profits, like to get that match, like just to open it up. And the Street Profits are very well established. They're a very well established team. They're great on the microphone. The crowd loves them. Like, I mean, this was awesome.
Yeah,
The only thing with the Street Profits that I wish that they would do is like they need to figure out whatever they're supposed to be. And what I mean by that is, are they faces or are they heels? Because they're kind
yep,
of acting like faces, but I feel like they're being presented as heels. So like we need to figure out like where these guys are right now.
yep.
But other than that, I think that this match was A plus plus all the way around.
Agree.
What was the one move called? The finisher, was it the catapulta infernal? Was that what he called
Yeah,
it?
something like that, which I've never heard of it referred to as that. How can they come up with such a good name like that, but then have the Mexican Muscle Buster?
African muscle buster.
Like
God.
who in back is coming up with these names that you can have go from one end of the spectrum to the other from such a terrible name to such a good name? Just call it a damn Muscle Buster. Why
Watch.
does it need to be Mexican?
Because WWE is racist.
Vince is
Speaking of
gone though.
WWE being racist, we talked about Aleister Black, but next we had all of our Latino wrestlers who were all involved in one feud because they have to be. They can't feud with like anybody else. They all have to feud with each other. WWE. But we had a segment earlier where Ray Phoenix was attacked by Legado, which led to a match between Andrade and Ray Phoenix versus Angel and Berto, and obviously Santos was there as well. Obviously, Andrade and Ray got the win. Andrade hits, what was it called? The message? Is that what his
Yes.
finisher is called? The
Yeah.
message on Berto. This was a great match. This was the second best match of the show, and Andrade and Ray Phoenix look awesome. And it looks like we had a breakup of Legado. Like it seemed very clear, like Berto just was like, F this, and he walked out after Santos got in his face after the match was over. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they go with these guys, because they're heels right now. But like I don't know if we're getting a face turn from Berto or if like what they're kind of trying to do with this.
My question is, what does that mean for Santos? Like Santos has always had some sort of faction with him. Are we gonna get just a whole like a character change for Escobar? Um, I mean, I'm not gonna complain if we still see him in matches with like Phoenix and that because that match from last week was spectacular.
Awesome.
And I 100% would be down to see like a best of seven series between the two of them. And but we've seen that Escobar can go with pretty much everyone. I mean, he had fantastic matches with LA Knight. He's had fantastic matches across the board. Like when he was in NXT, he had some really good matches with Tony D. And I don't know if this is our opportunity to promote him maybe to bigger storylines, like maybe Santos Escobar and Aleister Black.
Yeah, that could be something they could do. I mean, those three guys, Andrade, Phoenix, and Santos, I have no problem. How many people are usually in the Money in the Bank? Eight?
Between 6 and 8, depending on how big they decide to go.
All three of those guys can be in that match. I don't need
I
anyone. I don't need any one of the three of them to win, but all three of those guys can be in that match.
I made the joke on one of our previous videos that they should do an all lucha Money at the Bank
Be fun.
and have El Grande win.
Well, I have a feeling they're, I mean, I know WWE has done this for a long time where they've always kind of pitted, all the Latinos together. They've pitted a lot of black wrestlers together and stuff like that. Like they've done stuff like that because like, I jokingly say WWE is racist, but like they just a lot of wrestling companies do that.
Yep.
But I think this is more prevalent now with the AAA thing.
Oh yeah.
I think that they're really trying to highlight that a little bit as well because they're gonna do. what's the guy's name? The guy
Keo
who
doing the kick out.
no, the guy who El Grande pushed like in the face at
Yeah,
WrestleMania.
Vikingo.
Vikingo. Yeah. So like they're probably gonna do some crossover stuff with those guys as well. You got to imagine, and they'll show up on like those Worlds Collide show that they're gonna do in like July or something.
All I know is that we better see the debut of Nino Hamburguesa.
Jeez. Who is this guy? Why do we have this guy? God.
You know you guys love me.
Ugh. So yeah, so that I mean that match was awesome. And then led to our final segment, which was the GOAT, John Felix Anthony Cena,
The
coming out
last
to the ring, the last real champion. Cut another money promo. It was awesome. And just going on about Randy Orton and their history together and why he's gonna win and why Randy Orton's going to embarrass himself in front of his family and how, his father was a nobody that nobody remembers and is the only thing, or his grandfather was a nobody that nobody remembers. And his father was the only thing that he did relevant was knock up his mother. And I mean, Cena was just really laying into it. And then at the end of the segment, a masked guy came out and tried to cut a really awful RKO on Cena, which didn't really work. Cena defended it well, but then Randy obviously was there after the fact to hit the real RKO. And he stood tall holding the belts at the end of the segment, which clearly means he's going to lose tonight. But
Yep.
yeah, overall, what did you think of Cena's promo? And was this a good go home angle for what's to be the main event tonight?
His line of everyone's childhood dying, I think, was absolutely fantastic and would be a perfect title for our episode today. Um, and I mean, even if Cena can't grow particularly well in the ring, every single one of these promos that he cuts has been absolute fire. And I just the way he went through and listed off hustle, loyalty, and respect was awesome. The fact that he went into Randy's drug test failure
That
was
was,
incredible,
yeah.
incredible. And I'm really curious to see who they had playing the person who tried for that terrible RKO. But it's I don't know, I really enjoyed it. And but like you said, the Randy standing tall, 100% confirms that he's losing, and even though he's going to wrestle circles around Cena. I think it was a fantastic closing promo. I think it was everything we need out of Cena, and as long as he keeps delivering these style of promos about the people that he's competing against, I'm okay with him killing wrestling.
I need more than anything else in my life right now to see this version of John Cena in a promo segment, multiple promo segments with CM Punk.
Yeah,
I need it. I need it because oh my God, the magic that the two of them are gonna have on the microphone.
it's
Like
coming.
it's gonna be incredible. And Money in the Bank is the perfect time to do it. I don't know how they're gonna break Punk away from what he's doing right now, but like you have to capitalize on this. You have to do CM Punk and John Cena. You have to. It's like you're gonna print money with that.
Money in the Bank is July,
June.
June. Yeah, that's the only problem though. Like you said, I don't know how they get him away from the Cena thing or from the Rollins thing. So we may have to wait until like SummerSlam for that.
I mean, that would be a really fun main event at SummerSlam.
Yeah,
I mean, have that as your main event of the second night of SummerSlam. Oh boy, would that be fun. Give that to me like all summer. Wow. Like
and it gives you
All of July, have them like just killing each other on the microphone. I would be all about that.
and like they don't even have to get physical. They literally can just tear each
No,
other apart.
no, they don't.
Um, and it gives you an excuse to keep Cody away from the belt.
CM Punk is the only other person on the roster right now who I think could take the title off of Cena.
As far as faces go, yes.
No, as far as anybody on the roster. I don't think that there is another. I don't think Rollins is going to do it. Rollins'
No,
character, He's interested in
Rollins,
he's interested in Jay's title.
yeah,
Like Rollins, I think John Cena will most likely lose to Cody, but CM Punk is right now, in my opinion, CM Punk is the only other person on the roster that can take that title off of him and have it be believable.
yep, I agree.
So that was SmackDown. So overall, how was it as a go home show? What's your final opinions on that?
I give it like a 3.5 to a 4. It was definitely better of an episode than these last couple Raws have been. The matches were great, the promos were real good, and the fact that we actually got 5 or 6 matches, which is something we haven't seen a whole lot of over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I'm really glad Alexa's back. She's been always one of my favorites. I like her a lot. Cena's just been money. And if you watch anything else from this show, go and watch that Fraxiom Street Profits match because it was incredible. And if your boy Will Ospreay thinks that people in WWE can't wrestle, I think those four guys would wrestle circles around him because
Yep.
that was incredible. And it is certainly not, their catchphrase, we're the best wrestle. I don't know. Put that matchup
Yeah.
up against anything AEW has done this year, and I think it outranks almost all of it. So,
I mean, as long as you aren't talking to some of our reviewers on the internet.
yeah. Well, needless to say. So that was our episode, guys. So thank you so much for hanging out with us, and look forward to Backlash tonight. It's going to be a good one, and we'll have our review for you coming up in the next day or so, and then look for our other episodes this week. We're going to do our Raw review as we always do. Then we got the schedule coming out, so we're going to talk some NFL for you NFL guys, and we got a lot of content planned for everybody. So look forward to that. And it's been a pleasure, guys. Have a great evening and take care.